Hello there, my friends. Professor Pete here. Got a little remodeling going on in my office here, as you can see, so please pardon our appearance while we remodel. And anyway, just some thoughts here, and this is especially for those of you that have invested, subscribed, and purchased, and worked along with me to put a gold call script together for your particular business. Now, let me start from the top here. I've been thinking about this, right? Because it is not business as usual anymore. Things have changed. What am I talking about? I'm talking about how people receive information and act on it. We want to make calls to prospects, but we want to have some meaningful conversation that leads somewhere and gives ourselves a sense of accomplishment after the call has concluded. That's all I'm looking for. Now, I want a yes as much as anybody else, but I know that I've got to go through a whole bunch of no's to get to a yes, so I persevere, and so do you. But one of the things that keeps us from executing a call, picking up the phone and calling someone, is the fear of pressure and anxiety. I mean, there's a tough crowd out there, right? I don't know if it's only me, but have you noticed people's change in disposition? It almost seems as if they are predisposed to dismissal out of hand by default. If I didn't think of it and I didn't do it, then it mustn't be something I'm interested in. And here you are, cold caller, right? Making a call for the first time and trying to get somebody's attention, and things fall apart rather quickly. That was my experience as I earned my living on the phone, calling and setting up meetings with prospects, okay? I knew right away they were on to me when I called. Either the tone of my voice, my speech mannerism, my delivery, so on and so on and so on. Okay? So it was a challenge. I couldn't get to first base with anyone, and that's when I realized that times have changed. The first impression of you is drawn immediately. It's all done in real time. We have grown used to the immediacy of electronic communication, and we are hooked on it, and that's a problem because both sender and receiver, caller and prospect, seem to be predisposed to dismissal right away. If I'm not looking for it, then I'm not going to spend any of my attention exploring conversation with a complete stranger. The only way to solve a problem is to get out in front of it. That's it. That's your one shot. So if you're armed with the weaponry of conversation and dialogue, as the Gold Call Script Builder tool outlines, it's parsing your words and phrasing your speech in a sequence that makes it easier for you to get past the filter. You've got to do that. If you don't have the talent it takes to capture someone's instant attention, you're not going to make it. All right, you're going to make it, but it's going to be a long, rough road. We are literally selling to people who are deaf, dumb, and blind, and full of baloney, too. So you can't assume anything. The room fills up with smoke pretty quickly, and before you know it, you're blinded by over-optimism, maybe pressure coming from management above, who wants X amount of meetings every week, or else you're out of a job. Boy, I tell you, that's tough pressure. Who needs it? So I think I owe it to you to let you know that the Gold Call script that you have invested in is a greeting. A greeting. The first impression you give to someone in choreographed dialogue. Everything today is choreographed. It's all set up. Take it from me. I've been on TV. I've been on radio. They have a script. They call it copy. Now, certainly you can go off script and ad-lib a little bit, but I caution you when you're making a phone call to a prospect that one slip of the tongue will destroy your call and doom it to failure. That's why we're hoping for 10 seconds to explain the call. Explain the call in 10 words or less. Stop yapping. Nobody cares about your story. All of those sales trainers are out there with how to be a great storyteller or the black book of questions. If you can't put that into actionable dialogue instantly with another human being on the phone you want to do business with, you're shot. Your chances are shot. You're not going to make it. So we want to cut to the chase, get a pathway to someone's undivided attention with the icebreaker, and then our lemonade. Our cold drink to thirsty people. 10 words or less explanation of the value that we bring to a buying market. Now, I'm a skeptic. I guess I'm a conscientious pessimist. How's that? I don't believe anything I see or hear anymore. So I don't want to come across to prospects like I've got a new pill or some sort of potion that brings about a magical improvement or change to someone's business. I don't want to be a presenter. You can't push value in the direction of a prospect anymore. They've become too used to dismissing out of hand anything that's more than a sentence long. They can't digest it, and that's what you're dealing with. Deaf, dumb, and blind people full of baloney. So how do we handle that? Well, we want to have a breakthrough. We want to at least educate people as to what we do in as few words as possible. Then we want to make sure we're talking to the right person. So whatever problem you solve for any client, business, whatever, all right, you got to make sure that you're talking to someone that's connected to the problem. Because the problem your prospect doesn't see is the problem they don't have. And it's hard to make conversation with prospects when they have absolutely nothing to do with problems that you solve or needs that you satisfy. And then the next thing, the key that made it real easy for me to get to first base with everyone and get meetings on my calendar, I'm closing for attention today, not the meeting. Just a slight difference in a spin. And the final question that I ask a prospect as to if I solve the problem, cure the issue, eliminate the hassle, make it less expensive, cheaper, better, faster, whatever it is, if I was in a position to do that, would I get any of your attention? What's the harm in that? Where's the pressure, right? Now, if you've taken my course, then you will have some exposure to the rebuttals, right? So if somebody says no, you have a rebuttal. You have another question, all right? All in an effort, really, to pursue the no rather than chase the yes, okay? I'd rather, look, if the truth hurts you, you won't pursue it. But I've learned long ago that the more I talk, the further away I am from anybody's attention. So that's why I like to say less to sell more and put together this framework of the Gold Call script to help you get every single conversation you have with a prospect off on the right foot, heading in the right direction, and having in your possession the weaponry of conversation, the parsed words and phrases of how you make conversation with a prospect, real important, so that you can close and accomplish all of this inside of 4 minutes, okay? If you're suffering in pain from making calls or talking to prospects or whatever, that's a self-inflicted injury. It's only because you're not staying true to course with the Gold Call. Never, ever tell anyone up front about any value or potential positive outcomes. Stop being an optimist on your sales calls. They smell that right away, and it trips the circuit breaker. And they default to not paying attention to you and coming up with a bunch of baloney, like send me a brochure, or do you have a website, or what other companies you work for, blah, 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 blah. Smoke. People full of baloney. We live in a world of deceit, and you've got to protect yourself. So arm yourself with the weaponry of conversation, the dialogue, the phraseology, and the greeting that gets the meeting. That's what it is. You just need to get somebody to pay attention to you for that much time to get their consent to give you some more time. That's the game today with people. And if you don't know how to play that game, you'll always be waiting in line for opportunity with all the other people that do the same thing. They sabotage their calls with bloviating, positive, reassuring value proposition statements. Boring. All right. Anyway, thanks for spending a few minutes with me. I got to get back to work here, hanging a few pictures and maybe whatever. But this is Professor Pete. May all your calls be gold, and till our paths cross again, my friend. Happy hunting.